Hello everyone, I'm Sunil. I welcome you back to my YouTube channel TechBasics. So in the previous video, we have seen what are the different basic data types we have in a language called C++. How is that we are going to declare a variable, what are the rules of declaring a variable, and then we have seen how do we make use of input statement, output statement called cin and cout. And we also have seen that the use of namespace, why is that we are supposed to write the namespace and so on. Today in this video, I'll try to explain if and else statement and why to make use of this particular statement, which is similar to what you have in a language called C language. So if you go by the syntax of if and else statement goes in this way. So you are supposed to write if followed by a condition over there, and then if the condition that you are going to mention over here is true, it is going to execute statement 1. Otherwise, if the condition is false, it is going to execute statement 2. So that means at any given point of time, either statement 1 is going to execute or statement 2. So when you talk about if and else, either it has to execute statement 1 or statement 2. If the condition is true, it is going to execute statement 1. If the condition is false, it has to execute statement 2. There cannot be any kind of other answer for this. So when you write the condition over here in if, then you can make use of relational operators over there, logical operators over there, and so on. Relational operators over there, we mean you can make use of greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, not equal to. Equal to also you can call it as relational operators. Some of the textbook refer to it as comparison operators. So double equal to is to compare the value of a variable. But when you write single equal to, then you can call it as assignment operator and so on. A equal to, single equal to 100. Meaning of that is you are assigning the value 100 to a variable called A. But if you write A double equals to 100, meaning of that is you are comparing the value of A with 100. So apart from these relational operators, you can as well make use of logical operators like ampersand, if you write, it is called logical AND. Pipe symbol if you write, then you are going to call it as OR. Exclamation if you write, then you are going to call it as NOT, and so on. So this is how you can work with the statement called if else statement. You can also call it as a decision making statement. So whenever you write programs in C++, there is every chance that you may need to, or there may be a need to make a decision in a program. Like you want to find out whether a student has scored more than 50 marks or less than 50 marks. You want to check whether the student is pass or fail. You want to check whether the citizen can vote or not. You want to check the age of a particular person. In that way, you may need to go for checking of multiple conditions, and whenever you want to check any condition, then you can make use of a statement called if else statement. So we'll try some examples over here with the help of this particular statement. I'll go with the same software called repl.it, and there we'll try to write a program in this fashion. So you will say program to accept, you can say 2 numbers and display the smallest number. So it's a simple program which you might have done many times in a language called C and so on. So what is that we want to do here? We want to write a program which should accept 2 numbers and then it should display the smallest number. So this line you can comment it so that there is not going to have any error over there and so on. And as we know the structure of the program, you start with IO stream, followed by you will write the namespace over there, namespace std, so that you need not to write std : every time whenever you write c in, c out, endl, and so on. So namespace, as we said, is going to group the classes, object, functions into a single group. You can as well create a namespace on our own. We'll try to do that as we progress. So better write using namespace std. Std stands for standard. So it is going to group all the identifiers in this particular standard identifiers into this particular namespace. Now, what is that program we need to do here? You want to accept two numbers over there. So in order to accept two numbers, you can declare two numbers as n1 and n2. You can take any two variables over there. I'm taking it as n1 and n2. And then, as I told you in the previous video, you need to guide the user whenever you are going to accept the data. So you can tell to the user to enter two numbers. More precisely, you can tell to the user enter two integer values. And then how is that you are going to accept? So for displaying, you will use cout inserter, less than, we call it as inserter. And then when you want to accept the data, you will say cin extractor, you will say n1 value of n2 and so on. So after you accept the value, when you want to find the smallest number or the biggest number, what you do is you need to make use of your decision making statement called as if and else statement. And then you can write if n1 is less than n2. If n1 is less than n2, then you are going to display there a message n1 is smallest. And you can display the value of n1 over there. Endl is same as writing \n in C language. That is to have change of line after displaying this particular message. Else part of this, you will say cout n2 is smallest, and then you will display the value of n2 over there. So this is how you can write a program. What is that we are doing here? You are declaring two variables. You are accepting the values for these two variables. And then you are checking whether the first is smaller than the second. And then if it is so, if the condition is true, it will display n1 is smallest. Otherwise, it will display n2 is smallest, and so on. Run the program here. So your program says enter two numbers. So you can give two numbers over there. I'll type the numbers over there as say, just a minute, connectivity may. So I'll type the number over there as 50 and 30. So I should get n2 is smallest, which is 30. In the similar way, if I type say 100 and if I type say 500, I should get that n1 is smallest, and so on. So this is how you can write a simple program wherein you can accept the values and then you can find out which number is smaller, larger, and so on. So here we have used a relational operators called operator called less than, and so on. Similarly, you can write many programs over here. We'll try to do one more over here. And here we'll say program to accept a number and display whether it is odd or even. We just want to display whether the number is odd number or even number. So when you have to, when you write this text in two lines, you can comment it in this fashion for every line, or you can as well make use of /* and then you can say */ and so on. Fine. Then what is that you need to do? You just want to accept a single number now. So you can accept a number by saying integer n. And what is that you want to do here? You want to check whether this particular number is an even number or odd number. So how do you say a number is even or odd? You will divide this number by 2, and then if the remainder happens to be 1, you can call it as odd number. Otherwise, you can call it as even number. So what is that you do now? You accept the value of this number from the user. You can say enter a number, endl. And then you can accept a number by saying n and give the message over there. Now, if n%2, if the remainder equals to 0. So if you can check whether the remainder is 0 or 1, and if it is 0, you are going to say number is even number, that is n. Else you can write over there, else you can say cout number given is odd number, and then you can say there n and l. Then you can close your program. It's very simple. What is that we are doing? Accepting a number, checking whether that particular number is even or odd. In order to check whether a number is even or odd, you need to divide that number by 2. If the remainder happens to be 0, you will say even. If the remainder happens to be not 0, that means 1, then you will say it is odd number. So when you divide by 2, your remainder can be either 0 or 1. You can give a number over there. You can say number as 100, it will say it is even. You say 101, it will say odd, and so on. So this is how you can write simple programs using a statement called if and else statement. We'll go with the third example over here. So you'll say program to accept marks in 2 subjects and display the result of the student as pass or fail. Okay, so the result has to be pass. When you will say pass, when the marks in first subject greater than equal to 40, and you should also score more than 40 marks or equal to 40 marks in M2. So when the student scores more than 40 marks in M1 as well as in M2, then only you will say the result as pass. Otherwise, you are going to declare the result as fail. So now here you have to work with 2 conditions over there. You have to make use of logical operator over there. So what do you do now? Try to declare the variable that you require. So here you need to declare 2 variables. You can call it as M1 and M2. And then you can give a message to the user over there saying enter to subject marks. So your message should be very clear to the user to understand what he has to enter. And then you will say C in M1, you will say C in M2. Now you need to find out whether the student is pass or fail. So for that, what you need? You need to make use of decision making statement. You can say if M1 is greater than equal to 40 and M2 greater than equal to 40, then you will say result as pass. Else you will display the result as say fail. It's so simple. So how it is going to work now? Once you accept the marks of M1 and M2, it will check if the marks of M1 greater than 40. If it is true, then only it will check for the marks of M2, because you need to satisfy both the conditions when you make use of logical operator called AND. Suppose say the marks of M1 not greater than 40, then it is not going to check for the second condition and straight away it comes and displays the result as failed. So here in this, we said you are supposed to declare the result as pass only when the marks are greater than 40 in both the subjects. So when you have to go with both the subjects, you will make use of AND. But if it is said like say, marks should be greater than equal to 40 in M1 or in M2, then you can make use of here logical operator called OR. But in our case, we are supposed to make use of logical operator AND. Try to run this particular program now. You can give the marks over there 55, 66. You should get the result over there as pass. Try to declare like this. Say 39 and 96. Your result over here has to be fail, because if I give both the subject marks as 40, 40, sorry, I'll redo this. If I give the marks as 40 and 40, the result has to be pass, because we said greater than equal to 40 in M1, greater than equal to 40 in M2, and so on. So the result over there goes as pass, and so on. So this is how you can try simple programs initially, so that once you get the concept, then you can try implementing this and you can try to solve difficult programs over there. Let me give some more exercise over here. You can say program to accept item name, rate, quantity, and calculate the bill along with the discount of 10% if bill happens to be greater than equal to 5,000, less than equal to 5,000. Otherwise, you can say discount equals to 20%. So what is that we are trying to say over here? You want to accept the name of the item, rate of the item, you want to accept the quantity, and you want to calculate the bill along with the discount. But whenever you want to calculate the discount, you have to calculate either with 10% or you have to calculate with 20%. So 10% if the bill happens to be less than or equal to 5,000. But if the bill is more than that, then you are supposed to calculate with 20%. How is that we write this now? So item name, because it is a character, you can say character I name. You can give number of characters over there. Rate can be 5 rupee 50 paisa, quantity can be 5.5 and so on. So I will declare it not as integer, but I'll declare it as float. Rate, quantity, you calculate the bill, you calculate the discount over there. Okay, now give a message to the user. What is that user has to enter? User has to enter the item name, user has to enter the rate, user has to enter the quantity. Okay, how is that you are going to accept this? I name, you say rate, you say quantity. So when you are accepting the values for the variable that you are supposed to use over here and what you declare should be the same. If I write here I name, I should use I name. If I say rate, I should use rate. If I say QTY, I should use QTY. But when you write this message or provide this message to the user, you can have any English text over there. Fine, in double quotes. Now what is that you do? You know the name, you know the rate, you know the quantity. You calculate the bill. Bill equals to, you will say rate multiplied by quantity. And then you want to now calculate the discount. So how is that you do now? If the value of the bill is say greater than 5,000. So you can write it the way you like. If it is greater than 5,000, what is that you are going to do? You are going to calculate the discount with 20%. 20% of the bill is discount. So you can say there bill into 20 by 100 or you can directly write 0.2. Otherwise means what? If your bill is not less or equal to 5,000, you should go with 20%. So if it is greater than 5,000, you should go with 20%. Otherwise, you can calculate the discount as bill multiplied by 0.1. So then after you calculate whatever things you have calculated and accepted, if you want, you can display all of them. You can say item name given by the user as I name. You can say NL. Similarly, you can say cout rate given by the user is RATE NL. Similarly, you can say cout quantity given by the user is QTY. Similarly, you say cout bill given by the user is bill. Similarly, you can say discount that we calculated, bill also we calculated, is discount. You can write like this and close your program. So what is that we have done? We have declared the variables required, we accepted the values, we calculated certain things, then we made a decision over here. Based on the decision, you are calculating things over here and then display what you accepted, what you calculated, and so on. Run the program there. Sorry, the error is because we have not commented this line, so you can comment multiple lines using /*/. Now you can run the program there. Enter item name. So I'll enter the name of the item as mouse and the rate of that as say 300 and then the quantity I'll take it as 20. So my bill is going to be 6,000, which means I should calculate the discount with 20%. 20% of 6,000 is 1,200. The same way you can run the program. You can say the item name as keyboard, the amount is say 200 and the quantity is say 10. So your bill is going to be 2,000, which means your discount has to be with 10%. That is 200 and so on. So this is how you can write a program wherein you can understand how to declare the variables, accept the data, then calculate the values that are required and make the decisions accordingly. And finally, you can display everything back to the user. So user should clearly understand what is that you have accepted, calculated, and what is the decision you have made over there, and so on. So this is how you can write programs using if and else statement. So in the next video, we'll try to understand if and else statement, and then how is that we can write multiple statement when the condition is satisfied by making it as a compound statement, and how is that we can write multiple statement when the condition is not satisfied in the else part by making it as compound statement, and so on. Thank you.